folks, this is all the fruit. And look at this magnificent ancient mulberry tree, which is growing here in the castle courtyard of the Mannheim castle in Germany. And it's extremely symbolic that this tree is growing in the castle courtyard. I'll tell you why. At first, well, we see a nice ancient tree with two stems, and we see it is being protected. That's a good thing. I even know the people who are protecting it, although I haven't talked to them about this specific tree. The castle, like most of the big castles in the state, belong to the state and not to the city of Mannheim. So this belongs to the state of Baden-Württemberg, and the state is protecting it. It's officially protected as a natural monument. In Germany, unlike in the US, where natural monument is a name given to gigantic protected spaces, here a natural monument is actually intended to be something like a monument. It's either an ancient tree or a big rock or a cliff or sometimes a very small nature reserve, but not giant open space, not giant spaces like in the US. I think the German classification is more intuitive. Well, a beautiful old mulberry tree. I could ask how old it is. It's possible nobody knows it. I could try and look at old photographs. The city of Mannheim and the castle were pretty much completely destroyed in World War II. Actually, in 1944, the cities of Mannheim, Ludwigshafen, it's basically one city in two states, were the most important target of Allied bombing. Because, well, all this coal mining and metal stuff and so in the Ruhr area, it went underground, so it was not so easy to bomb. But in Mannheim, Ludwigshafen, they produced gasoline for the tanks and trucks and the tires for the trucks. So this was the most important city to bomb. Actually, you remember little boy? The one little boy that went to Hiroshima? It was custom built specifically to destroy Mannheim. Yeah, good thing that in early 1945 the Germans conquered Mannheim and then the Nazis surrendered. The Americans were really pissed they couldn't throw little boy on Mannheim, so yeah, sorry Hiroshima, but yeah, I'm kind of glad. Well, what I want to say, this area was completely destroyed in World War II, but this tree is definitely much older than World War II. I would say mulberries grow quite slow, that it is from the 18th or maybe early 19th century. This is the time where most of the mulberries here in this area were planted. And why is it so symbolic that it's standing in front of the palace? Not because of the bombings at Little Boy. I just told you this to see that basically the whole city was destroyed, and still when they rebuilt it, the people of Mannheim preserved this tree in the center of all the destruction. I wonder if it would have survived. Well, they would have thrown Little Boy over there, over the... The funny thing is that the city of Mannheim, basically looks like a big target, and the center of this big target is less than 500 meters away from me. I'm sure the Americans would have said, just throw it in the middle of this whole dart target, which is the city of Mannheim. The people of Mannheim actually even built a fake city 50 kilometers from here. A whole fake copy of Mannheim made of cardboard, the size of an actual city, because they hoped the Allies would bomb it. They didn't. They bombed the real Mannheim, but not with Little Boy. So, okay, they rebuilt it and saved this tree. But why did they plant those trees here to begin with? Well, it has indirectly something to do with this castle here. You see, nowadays, Germany might be the European state which all other European states look up to, but a couple hundred years ago it was France. And all those small states in western and southwestern Germany, they were kind of poor and backwards, but they still had to compete with France, so they tried to build palaces the size of the French palaces. And actually the people of Mannheim say that the Mannheim Palace, which is actually quite big, has 2 more windows than Versailles. I've never been to Versailles, but I've seen plans of Versailles. It looks bigger than the Mannheim Palace. Maybe that's why the Mannheim people squeezed so many windows next to one another. Glass was super expensive back then, so was heating. But yeah, so they wanted to have the same big palaces as France, and they did not have the economy to have the base for those palaces. And here comes in the mulberry tree. As you can see, this mulberry tree is producing countless fruits. 5 or 6 fruits to each knot, to each bud, which is quite a lot. And if those are tasty mulberries, I'll make sure to be here in a couple months and forage them. But the people were not interested in the fruits. The fruits were a byproduct. They had other fruit trees. They did not need to import mulberries. They were interested in the leaves, because the leaves you use to feed the silkworms. And the silkworms, of course, they poop silk. And yeah, all those rich people, they dress mostly in silk, especially silk stockings. Oh, so many silk stockings. Well, and where did those silk stockings come from? Well, France made sure they come from France. And if you didn't want to import them from France, you had to import them from China, because China was the main country with a silk industry or silk manufacturing. France was the main silk manufacturer in Europe, manufacturing the fancy clothes for the nobility. So if you had your own silk industry, you would firstly save money. You did not have to pay France for all those silk stockings and silk ropes and so on. And secondly, you could even start selling silk to other countries. That's why along the Rhine, in the 18th and 19th century, all those little dukes and counts, actually Napoleon made some of them even kings, they started growing mulberries. Yeah, the mulberries did grow here and they could produce silk. The silkworms also grew here and ate the tasty leaves. A bit on the dry and tough side, but tasty. Salty and umami. Not too bad. Am I gonna start pooping silk now? I'll tell you. Well, it was possible to grow mulberry trees here. It was possible to produce silk, but they never managed to compete economically with France or China, and the silk production died quite soon. However, still, the mulberry trees survived. There is a mulberry island in Germany, which is the remnant of a big mulberry plantation. Then I've seen old, sometimes ancient mulberry trees here and there in Mannheim. But this is maybe the most symbolic location for such an old mulberry tree. Like the palace, which the princes of the Palatinate built to compete with France. And in front of it, the silk tree, which maybe it was even planted, planted by the archdukes of Baden after the country of the Palatinate was dissolved, which was planted in order to compete economically and in the fashion aspect with France. And of course, we know how this ended. So folks, I'm really glad, well, all the time I'm showing this tree from this side. Let me show it from the other side. Well, it's maybe even more impressive from this side. Beautiful. So this was an ancient mulberry tree in the city of Mannheim. I'll make sure to be back. Look at this. This thing is gonna produce tens of thousands of fruits. I'll make sure to be back in a couple weeks or months to harvest this thing. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful and sometimes unexpectedly fruit-rich city of Mannheim in Germany. And if you want to receive more such content, YouTube kinda stopped recommending my videos to viewers. Oh, also here, because everything in Germany needs to be tidy and catalogued and filed, every tree has a number. See this one? Not only such ancient ones, but even normal street trees. Yeah, it's not enough to subscribe to my channel, but you need to press the little bell. I forgot another thing. As you can see, yeah, I bet most of you already clicked away. As you can see, there are several generations of restoration work being done on this tree. They did not have to do so much restoration work on the palace because they had to rebuild it from scratch after World War II. As you can see, here are old metal pipes. Those will be probably from the second half of the 20th century. A lot of them have already rusted through. Well, at least we don't have old concrete walls built into the tree. Then we have all those metal ropes which are attached to a big screw which is screwed into the tree. This might look like it hurts the tree a lot, but actually it's the safest way to protect the tree. 1 metal rope, 2, 3, 4, all of them screwed into the tree. And then you see all those plastic ropes which are attached to those protecting things around them, around the tree. This is not a permanent thing. If you keep this for a couple years, they will start cutting into the bark of the tree and hurting it. So I think this is an emergency measure because they saw that this tree is going to fall over, and I'm sure that soon they will replace them with even more permanent metal ropes. So beautiful tree, and if you want to receive more such content, you know what you have to do. Press the little bell icon.